sense of who am I? Who is, because when you say who is my father, you're also saying who am I? When you're saying who is my mother, you're also saying who am I? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Man, don't go nowhere, brother. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Herschel from Nashville, Tennessee. When we come forward, more from the Volunteer State.
I made the change from a common thief to up close and personal with Robin Leach. And I'm far from cheap. I smoke skunk with my peeps all day. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn
KBLA
way.
1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Trump claims Biden's pardons for January 6th committee members are invalid, alleging they were done by autopen without Biden's knowledge. He stated these members are subject to investigation. The family of twin brothers found dead on Bell Mountain in Georgia rejects the murder-suicide theory. Kadir Malik Lewis and Nazir Rahim Lewis were found by hikers with gunshot wounds. Their family doubts they would harm each other and are puzzled by their presence on the mountain. A court hearing in Boston regarding the deportation of Dr. Rasha Alawiya was delayed after officers at Logan Airport didn't receive a court order notice. Alawiya was detained after returning from Lebanon, and her cousin filed a federal complaint. And The Weeknd added a second Las Vegas date to his 2025 After Hours Till Dawn tour with a show on July 4th at Allegiant Stadium. The tour includes 43 stadium shows from May to September. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers continue to get it done without LeBron. They beat San Antonio Monday night 125-109. 30 points for Austin Reeves. Luka Doncic had 21 points and 14 assists. LeBron has been working out the past 3 days, but no word yet on his return. LeBron has been out since March 8th with a groin injury. Interesting game for the Clippers tonight. They play the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Cavs have the NBA's best record at 56-11. This is a busy time and a fun experience for Norfolk State Athletics Director Melody Webb. The Norfolk State men and women's basketball teams are in the NCAA tournament. Webb was hired at the HBCU school on July 1st, 2020. She's the first female athletics director at Norfolk State in school history. The men's team plays Florida on Friday. The women's team faces Maryland Saturday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to announce that like George and Weezy,
Well, we're moving on now.
earlier this year, we were named as semifinalists for the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025. Wait for it. Wait for it.
You ready?
KBLA Talk 1580 was recently selected as one of 10 finalists being considered for this prestigious award. Hundreds of organizations, institutions, and even cities were nominated in the selection process. But KBLA Talk 1580 has made it to the finals. You're invited to watch live on Wednesday, April 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, as Eco America announces the winner and the runner-up, awarding over $200,000 in prize money. To watch live, just go to ecoamerica.org to register and attend the online ceremony. That's ecoamerica.org. Don't miss the presentation of the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025, Wednesday, April 16th, and wish us luck. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Baby, we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of black talk. Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go, sis.
First things first.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Salam alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak. My name is not Dominique DiPrima. We wish our queen of radio some healing. She's not feeling well this morning. My name is Melina Abdullah, and I feel blessed and fortunate to be sitting in the Queen's chair this morning. We're going to be hopping into some really important conversations that I invite you to join me in. Our phone number is 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. We wake up this morning, as my shirt says, hella grateful, hella grateful. We are so grateful to be alive. We're grateful to be surviving this attack on humanity, this attack on the world. We're grateful for purpose. We're grateful to be moving forward despite everything. We're grateful for our breath. We're grateful for our life. We're grateful for our families and our children. We're grateful that there is still a future, even when it seems bleak. We are grateful for voice, and we pray that our strongest and mightiest and most righteous ancestors, that our God work through us and use us to do God's will in this world. Use us, God, to do your will. Makes me want to sing, but you also want to pray that I never, ever, ever sing. Still makes me want to sing Use Me. Some of y'all know that song, Use Me, oh God. I'll just say the words. I won't sing the words. Use me, oh God. I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And if you have been paying attention to the news as I have, if you are scrolling Instagram, which is where people get their news now, as I have, then you know that there is much, much, much work for us to do. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. So roadmap for the show this morning is kind of a freestyle 6 a.m. hour, right? So we're going to kind of freestyle it. We're going to talk about what's happening in the news. I'm going to offer a bit of analysis on what I perceive as going on as these terrible attacks on humanity, and including the terrible airstrikes that happened overnight. The Israeli occupation forces attack, their violation of the ceasefire agreement. Not that there ever was a real ceasefire in Gaza, but there was supposed to be. There was supposed to be. Last night, if you haven't opened your Instagram page, if you haven't been watching Al Jazeera, right, because we know that mainstream news is not covering the still genocide that's occurring in Palestine. If you haven't been paying attention, if you missed what happened yesterday and last night, there were renewed airstrikes, renewed attacks on Gaza, killing, now it's estimated at about 400 people, most of them children. I opened this morning Ramadan Mubarak. This is the holiest month for those who practice Islam. This is the holiest month for Muslims, which is the majority in Palestine practices Islam. And so as children, as elders, as families were waking up, as they were engaging in their pre-dawn meal, because during Ramadan we fast from sunup to sundown. And so there's a pre-dawn meal called sahur that if you're disciplined enough to wake up ahead of dawn, then you eat sahur. You have your sahur meal. As they were readying themselves for sahur meal, airstrikes hit the Gaza Strip, killing almost 400 people, most of them children. And so I grapple with whether or not to show it, with how much to show. There are images of dead children. And I'm going to pause because I'm a human being. There are images of dead children, dead babies who were killed in these airstrikes. Remember that they've already killed 100,000 Palestinians. The Israeli occupation forces have already killed 100,000 people. And last night they killed 400 more in the midst of a pledged ceasefire during the holiest month in Islam, Ramadan season. And so they have completely restarted the attack on Palestinians, the genocide of Palestinians. And so this morning we wake up prayerful, and we also wake up recognizing that there is much, much work to do. The Palestinian Youth Movement is convening protests all around the world. There are at least 10 cities engaging in protest from I think Denmark is having a protest. London is having a protest. New York is definitely having a protest. There's a protest in D.C. And here in Los Angeles, there will be a protest at 11:30 this morning near UCLA. It is at the Lusk Hotel at 425 Westwood Plaza. 425 Westwood Plaza is the emergency Stop the Genocide protest that's happening here in Los Angeles this morning at 11:30. And so we're going to engage in conversation about that. We're going to engage in conversation about the Trump, Vance, Musk attack on labor unions. We're going to engage in conversation about Black Lives Matter and how we're organizing. And we invite you into the conversation at 800-920-1580. I see Fred calling in from Crenshaw. Let's take Fred. What you got for us this morning, Brother Fred? Thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, good morning, Sister Abdullah. I hope that Donna DiPrima's feeling well. She's just going to take this whole week off, or you going to take the show for the whole week?
No, we want Dominique. We want Sister Dominique to be well. So we want her to come back tomorrow. We want her to text me and say, you know what, it's miraculous. I'm feeling better and I'm coming in. And so we want to pray for Sister Dominique's healing.
Oh, well, yeah.
But I appreciate your words of encouragement, Brother Fred. So please keep praying for me.
Oh, yeah, I pray for everybody. I'm sorry about what happened there in the Gaza Strip. It seems to me that Putin and Trump really don't give a darn what happens. I hate to say it, but a lot of blacks, a lot of Latinos decided all of a sudden to vote for Trump. Why would you do that? I would love to have seen our first black sister, Kamala Harris, up there. So now the Democrats is really, as my dad would say, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. We got to win congressional seats in 2026. We got to get the presidency in 2028. So I think that I would love to see Kamala Harris be our first black woman governor. Since she's going to make a decision August 31st of this year, that is going to be a very crowded field. And for Gavin Newsom, I think two things he needs to do. Number one, sign the reparation bill. As you probably know, the reparation bill is at the county level. We got to get it up to the state. That's number one. Number two, I think he's going to have to try to meet with the transgender people. We already know what Donald Trump thinks about the transgender people. This is a nation of everybody, blacks, Latino. You know, we all are the body of Christ, and so. Like I said, I think the Democrats got to get the House and the Senate for 2026 and 2028. My prayers go out to all the people, especially the young children. Take care. God bless.
Fred, before you hang up, I do have a question for you. I hear you saying "we" in reference to the Democratic Party. Now, I am absolutely not a Republican. I would never join the party of the devil, right? But I'm also not a Democrat. So let me ask you.
You're independent?
I'm independent, and and I understand that both the Democratic and Republican parties are sponsored by white supremacist capitalism. Let me ask you, though, Brother Fred, you said you want to see Kamala Harris in the White House. Let me ask you why. And let's get your 60-second response.
Yeah, okay. I look at the fact on how she went through a lot of racial prejudice. She became our I'm here in L.A. Okay, in San Francisco, she was the district attorney, state attorney general, U.S. Senate, ran for vice president, got in, and then unfortunately at the time we only had two people. Either you voted for Donald Trump or you voted for Kamala Harris, or you didn't vote for anybody. I ran to a lady. I said, did you vote in the November 5th election of last year? She said, no. I said, what happened? She said she thought that Bernie Sanders was going to get it, but as you see in the newspaper, I guess he decided, well, I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to just drop out the race.
Well,
but I know for a long time they have been trying to get a third-party candidate.
Well, Brother Fred, there were third parties on the ballot. In fact, I was the running mate to Dr. Cornel West. And so I think we have to do a much better job of getting the word out about third-party candidates. Cornel West, who is this, I say it's inarguable, the smartest man in the world, right, was running for president of the United States. And so we had our first all-black ticket, Cornel West and I, running for president and vice president of the United States. Unfortunately, we couldn't overcome the funding obstacles because they're estimating $1 billion on this election. And so we didn't have anywhere close to that. We didn't have millions, let alone billions. And so we weren't able to compete with that. But I think it's really important that we look at the other options. And I really appreciate you sharing with us your perspective when we come forward. We want you to also weigh in if you have thoughts about the role of elected officials, the role of the presidency. Please give us a call at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. My name is Melina Abdullah. There's much more to come.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Charmin Ultra Strong. You can use less, better than the rest. Charmin Ultra Strong. Your booty past the clean test. Salmon wave texture, it's the best. Study up, teach a lesson on fresh. Your booty past the clean test. Yes, sir. Charmin Ultra Strong.
Charmin Ultra Strong with diamond weave texture cleans better than the leading one-ply brand, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Diane from Michigan, a disabled senior citizen trying to get by. Henry from Florida, a veteran fighting to make ends meet. Elena from Arizona, a mother struggling to feed her daughter. Hi, I'm Connie Britton, and I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year, like Diane, Henry, and Elena. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like the style, though.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you.
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ROCK to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text ROCK to 42424. That's ROCK to 42424.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Good morning. My name is Melina Abdullah, and I am sitting in for the Queen of Radio this morning, inviting you into the conversation. We remember that we are here to do the work of justice, and we are reminded this morning of how hard we must fight for justice. We are facing down one of the most evil administrations, no, not one of, the most evil administration of my lifetime. And I don't think anybody has ever seen this kind of unprecedented attack on Black people, on brown people, on gay and trans folks, on working class folks. These attacks are coming from every angle and every side. And during what we practice as the holy month of Ramadan, we're called upon especially to do the work of God. In fact, we should be doing the work of God every single day. And, you know, I think that in the face of evil, we're called into it during the Ramadan season. We're called into it especially. So here's what we're going to be talking about this morning. One, we're going to be hopping into conversation about these attacks that occurred last night, the airstrikes that the Israeli occupation forces restarted overnight against the Palestinian people, killing 400, an estimated 400, mostly children who are already living in tents, who are already living in starvation conditions, who are already living without clean water, who already had resources halted, right? They killed Netanyahu, and the Israeli occupation forces restarted airstrikes, resuming and ramping up the genocide of the Palestinian people. Over 100,000 Palestinians have been killed since October 7th by the Israeli occupation forces, and 400 more were killed last night. We're also going to be talking about invite you into this conversation, Trump's attack on labor unions. Labor unions are being attacked. Public employees, the Association of Federal Government Employees, has been attacked, had their union really he refuses to recognize their union, not just their collective bargaining power, but the union itself. That's the government union that oversees, of which the TSA and other federal government workers, including mail carriers and all of that, are employed by, or they have membership in those unions. And then we'll also be talking about all things Black Lives Matter, right? In the midst of what we're facing down, we also see the capitulation of the Democrats, right? Chuck Schumer is one, but so are local mayors. When we think about what Muriel Bowser just did in D.C., destroying Black Lives Matter Plaza, not just painting over the words, but jackhammering up the entire street because Trump said so. Well, Trump is not in charge of local governments, and you can push back. You can fight back, but what we see is capitulation. I was jokingly saying that there's lots of words that I'm using that are in my vocabulary that haven't been used with regularity before, but under Trump, I'm saying all kinds of things I've never said before, including using the word capitulate. Capitulate is new and is being used in heavy rotation in my vocabulary, encouraging those who say that they are the opponents of Donald Trump to not capitulate, to fight, to resist, right? So we remember that that's one of the teachings, right? Henry Highland Garnett famously said that we must resist. No oppressed people have ever secured their liberty without resistance. And I think that that's a word not just in the 19th century when Henry Highland Garnet spoke those words, but also now when we're facing down fascism, when we're facing down white supremacy. So we're going to hop into conversation about all of those things right here on KBLA 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580 is the number to call if you want to hop in to that conversation, or what Brother Fred brought up, which is, you know, we only have the choices of the Republican option or the Democratic option. If you want to talk about why we have more than those choices, or why you think that those are the two viable choices, you can also give us a call and hop into that conversation. Again, 800-920-1580. In our second hour, we're going to be in conversation about all the things that are moving nationally with a reporter from Capital B. If you're not following Capital B as a news outlet, you probably should. No, you definitely should. Because when we talk about mainstream media, we have to remember that mainstream media like NBC, like CBS, like, what's the other one? ABC, are all funded by corporate interests. The same corporate interests that fund the presidency also fund mainstream media outlets. And so we need to think about what are independent resources. Where do we get Black news, right? KBLA, of course, is one of your resources, but so is Capital B. In our third hour, we will have my fraternity brother and renowned author, Lawrence Ross, will be joining us to talk about the Divine Nine. I want to hear from Brother Lawrence about the Divine Nine and about what is the Divine Nine's role in struggling for justice. When we talk about members of my sorority, which is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, or his fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, what is their role in demanding justice? We know that sometimes those who are members of organizations like that, which tend to be a bit more affluent, which tend to be a bit more privileged within the Black community, right? You're talking about college-educated Black folks. There is an initial vision for what the Divine Nine should be, and then there are folks who just say, I'm searching for a comfortable place in oppression, and they'll double down on white supremacy. I'm thinking about people who claim to be members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, like Errol Southers. I know you're going, what? Do you all know who Errol Southers is? Errol Southers is the president of the Los Angeles Police Commission, who's one of those skin folk who ain't kinfolk. Skin folk who ain't kinfolk. But pledged Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity. We're going to ask Lawrence Ross about his fraternity brother and why Errol Southers tells off Black women in the midst of the commission meetings. Why Errol Southers revoked the right for the valedictorian at USC where he works. That's his day job, right? He's the senior vice president for safety at USC. Why did he pull back Asna Tabasum's valedictorian speech? We'll talk about why he called in police on student protesters on that campus, and is that in line with what sororities and fraternities, Black fraternities and sororities, the Divine Nine, are supposed to be doing, as we are service organizations, right? Our fraternities and sororities, we pledge them for life because we pledge to be of service to our people. Is that the right thing to do when you, here's that word again, capitulate to white supremacist, patriarchal, heteronormative capitalism? So all of those are points of conversation. You're invited into the conversation at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Again, my name is Melina Abdullah, and I'm going to quickly, before we go to news, traffic, and sports, outline what I think is happening and what I think we must do, what this moment calls for. So my day job is I teach. I'm a professor of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA's College of Ethnic Studies. And we are reading Octavia Butler's Parable of the Talents, or we've read Parable of the Talents. Last semester we read Parable of the Sword. This semester we're reading Parable of the Talents. Just as your quick teaser, one, go get those books. You can get them at any Black-owned bookstore, Reparations Books, Octavia's Bookshelf, Malik's Books. Get those books. But in the books, as we face down fascism, and I'll talk more about it on the other side, as we face down fascism, the point is not to just resist these forces that have more money than us, that have more resources than us, and think they have more power than us. The point is to vision and build towards an alternative way of being and living. In Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents, that community is called Earthseed. What is our Earthseed? What do we want to vision and build? Let's talk about that on the other side.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore are returning home after an unexpected 9-month stay on the ISS due to Boeing Starliner issues. They're set to splash down off the Florida coast in a SpaceX capsule around 6 p.m. Eastern. Amazon Echo will start sharing information with Amazon servers, and users can't opt out. The Do Not Send voice recordings feature ends on March 28th as Alexa expands the capabilities with generative AI using Amazon's secure cloud. San Francisco Pride is losing about $300,000 in sponsorships as companies like Comcast and Anheuser-Busch withdraw support. Officials are seeking new partners, but no reasons for the withdrawals have been given. And the NCAA tournament starts tonight in Dayton, Ohio, with first 4 matchups: Alabama State versus St. Francis, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina versus San Diego State. Winners advance to the first round on Thursday. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers continue to get it done without LeBron. They beat San Antonio Monday night 125-109. 30 points for Austin Reeves. Luka Doncic had 21 points and 14 assists. LeBron has been working out the past 3 days, but no word yet on his return. LeBron has been out since March 8th with a groin injury. Interesting game for the Clippers tonight. They play the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Cavs have the NBA's best record at 56-11. This is a busy time and a fun experience for Norfolk State Athletics Director Melody Webb. The Norfolk State men and women's basketball teams are in the NCAA tournament. Webb was hired at the HBCU school on July 1st, 2020. She's the first female athletics director at Norfolk State in school history. The men's team plays Florida on Friday. The women's team faces Maryland Saturday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Stories are power. The Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project is an effort to collect, preserve, and amplify stories of Black land loss. It will form an invaluable resource for scholars, authors, historians, educators, storytellers, policymakers, and change agents who wrestle with issues of restitution, reparations, racial inequality in home ownership, and the racial wealth gap. Through documenting stories of Black land loss, the archive will help demonstrate the magnitude of what Black families have lost and will continue the national dialogue to encourage paths to restitution, rebuilding, and healing. Support the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project by visiting www.blacklandlost.org or by donating at www.blacklandlost.org/donate. Spread the word to inspire awareness, activism, leadership, and change. And join us in making a lasting impact. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-511-2112. That's 800-511-2112. 800-511-2112.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
My name is Melina Abdullah, and I'm sitting in for Dominique DiPrima this morning. We are talking about these attacks on the world, these attacks on all of humanity, and what it is we must do, We want to hear from you, what it is you're committed to doing. How do you see the path forward in the face of fascism? In the words of Jonathan Jackson and George Jackson, fascism is already here. Fascism is already here. And we see it. I think most of us are shocked by the constancy of the assaults, are shocked by what's happening and how it's moving. Battles on every front. I'm reminded of Paul Robeson. The battlefront is everywhere. There is no sheltered rear. And so what must we do as we're being attacked from all sides, as we're being attacked for our genders, as we're being attacked for our race, as we're being attacked based on what we say, what we speak? We thought we could say what we want as long as we don't yell fire in a crowded building, right, or threaten to overthrow the government. We thought that we were safe and we could say things that are morally correct, like free Palestine, stop killing Palestinian babies, right? We thought that we were safe to do that because that's what they claim this country is based on. We thought that the words that, I don't know how many of y'all as old as I am, but I'm 52 years old now, and I remember Sister Soldier talking about slavery's back in effect. Look, let me say, that's not too far-fetched at this point. When you talk about Donald Trump deporting folks who are in this country legally, and then when judges attempt to intervene, giving them a big middle finger and refusing to abide by judicial orders, refusing to abide by the rulings of the third branch of government. The judicial branch is a branch of government. When you see the presidential powers, the executive branch of government, ushering in evil, and then here's that word again, the legislative branch, who's supposed to be, some of whom are supposed to be the opposing party, completely capitulating, right? Think about Chuck Schumer. Y'all saw that mess, right? Chuck Schumer Chuck Schumer and the supposed Democrats, which are supposed to be the opposite, right? The opposing party to the Republicans, going for this terrible spending plan, then what do we have? What do we have? It is the definition of fascism, of authoritarianism. That's what we're seeing. So as the people who bear the brunt of that, as the people who are the victims of fascism, the question is, will we go along with it or will we resist? Resistance, resistance, resistance. No oppressed people have ever secured their liberty without resistance, says Henry Highland Garnett. So here's what I started sketching out. One, I want y'all to read some books. Because, there's a lot of wisdom, not just in the books that are theory. There's a lot of theory books that I want y'all to read too, that I'm hoping we're all engaged in some, we got to read for our lives now. We got to read for our lives, right? There's a whole march for our lives. We got to read for our lives. Get some answers. And I can give you a whole book list, right? Black Power by Stokely Carmichael. You got to read Black Power by Stokely Carmichael. Read Naomi Klein's work, right? When she talks about disaster capitalism, that's the moment that we're in. You got to read those works. We have to read works by Bell Hooks and Lonnie Guinier. Lonnie Guinier's work is resonating really heavily. And then, of course, read works by Cornel West. Read Democracy Matters as we're watching attacks, the undoing, the complete unraveling. I don't know, unraveling is a slow word. The complete destruction of democracy under Donald Trump. Read Democracy Matters by Cornel West. But look, just like there's theoretical pieces, just like there's research pieces that we should be reading, I get great inspiration. Robin Kelly writes, that's someone else who you should read, and he has a million books, my favorite of which is Freedom Dreams, right? He talks about the importance of freedom dreaming. And in freedom dreaming, in our work to freedom dream, I think one of the places I draw my greatest inspiration is from imaginative works. Robin Kelly talks about the role of the radical imagination, right? To think about not just what is our response to all of these terrible things that are moving, and we must respond. We must respond. We can't just allow it to be that fascism sweeps the planet, fascism sweeps the earth. I don't know if y'all heard, this is absolute fascism, right? Donald Trump's talking about Canada should become a... Miles, did you hear this? He wants Canada to become a state of the United States. Right. It's nuts. He wants Canada to become a state rather than have its own autonomy as a sovereign nation, right? He's talking about buying Greenland, right? All of these things. So we have to respond. Some of it is actually funny, right? If it weren't true, it would be hilarious, but some of it's funny. We have to respond to fascism. We have to fight for our people. We have to, make sure that we lock arms and push back against their agenda. But if that's all we do, then they're setting their agenda and they're setting our agenda as well. And so I think it's really important that we engage our radical imagination by reading works of fiction that really, in a sense, predict the future. So Octavia Butler is one of my favorite authors. She's actually from Pasadena. She writes of these fires. You're going, wait, what? She died years ago. This book, Parable of the Talents that I mentioned, was written in 2000. But in that work, in Parable of the Talents, she talks about fascism taking over, fascism taking the White House. And there's this fictitious president named Jarrett who's demanding all kinds of things, who's created really concentration camps in this country. And what Octavia Butler's protagonist, whose name is Lauren Olamina, what Lauren does is imagine a world and build a world that's rooted in spiritual practice that she calls Earthseed. And Earthseed is the answer to fascism. Earthseed is the answer to President Jarrett's fascism. So my question to you and to us is, what is our Earthseed? Disaster capitalism, as Naomi Klein writes about, is one thing, right? Capitalism is going to be, how we make that a verb. Capitalism is going to be capitalizing, right? Capitalism is going to be capitalizing. Capitalizing? I don't know. But they going to do what they going to do. Capitalism is going to be exploiting the workers. But how do the workers fight back? How do the workers not just demand better wages and working conditions, but how do the workers imagine a world where people have all of what we need and most of what we want? And then how do we work towards that world? That's what this moment calls for. Not simply responding to their agenda, but building towards our own agenda. So, what does your Earthseed look like? What does the world that we imagine, that we want, what does it sound like, look like, taste like, feel like, smell like? How do we build it? What does locking arms mean? And so I think that's where we really need to start. That's where we really need to start. Not just response, but radical imagination. Give us a call and chime in at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Much more to come right here on First Things First.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
The Eaton Canyon fire devastated many black families in Altadena, taking more than just homes. It took memories, legacies, and generational wealth. The heart of a black community is now in jeopardy, but Justice Coalition, led by Gage and King LA Lawyers for the People, are here to help. If you've lost your home, we are standing by to hold insurance companies and utilities accountable for the damage caused. When the community suffers, we all suffer. Together, we can rebuild what was lost. Your recovery starts today. Call 626-429-1259. That's 626-429-1259. Or visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Justice Coalition, Gage and King, LA Lawyers for the People. We got you. Call 626-429-1259. Visit www.eatonfirelawyers.net. Again, 626-429-1259. This is attorney advertising. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Legal representation is provided by licensed attorneys.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look, and unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And my name is Melina. Abdullah, you're listening to First Things First. I'm sitting in the Queen's chair, sitting in for Dominique DiPrima this morning. You are welcome to join the conversation. We just asked, what does your earth seed look like? What does your earth seed look like when we talk about Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents? In this moment of fascism, in this crisis moment, how do we build towards the future that we want, need, and deserve? What does that look like for you? We got Sister Rosie Milligan calling in on line one. What we got, Sister Rosie Milligan?
Good morning. It's so good to hear you, Queen. You know, I'm so happy to hear you speak about books, about reading. You know how I feel about that. That's why I, for 29 years, been sponsoring Black Writers on Tour. If there ever was a time that we need to read and look back, it's now. And I'm saying to people, get off of Facebook and put your face in a book. Because it will take you to a whole different level. I contribute who I am has a lot to do with me reading stories about women like Madam C.J. Walker. That's why I'm such a stunt businesswoman now and not having to beg SBA and all that to get started because I'm reminded how she started her business with $1.50. It wasn't any loans out there. Stories that we read about our people, Mary McLeod Bethune, the same thing. We got to read, folks, and get off of Facebook and all these, Fox News. Our people, Lord have mercy, they have given us what we need. They've given a life. They left a legacy in reading. And I keep asking, who will we hear? They have told us, all the scholars that you have talked about, even the legend that even live today, like Dr. Claude Anderson, Watson, and all the people that you have named. If I could get people to read and to teach their children, if they don't read, if they don't understand what has happened before now, they won't be able to connect and move forward to the future. So I thank God for you talking about read. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, and I think that's absolutely right, Sister Rosie Milligan, that we do have to read. Here's some encouraging data for you, that readership among Black folks is soaring, and patronizing of small Black-owned bookstores is also on the rise. And so people are starting to read. We understand that these same forces that are attacking us also manipulate the media. How are we going to be complaining about and angry about the unelected leader of this country and I'm talking about Elon Musk, right? If you want to talk about folks who, if you're going to deport anybody, maybe we should be deporting those who support apartheid, right? Maybe we should be deporting Nazis, right? Rather than just talking about Elon Musk and still using his platforms, we can go and get information in other places. We also know that, and I'm active, I'm going to be clear, I'm not holier than thou. I am on social media. I'm on both Facebook and Instagram and even X. I have not left X yet because sometimes we got to use it to get information out. But we also have to realize that information is being used and manipulated, that the algorithms don't give you clean information. It's not just that you're following Rosie Milligan or you're following Dominique DiPrima or you're following me. and you're getting that information. There's all kinds of stuff going on, shadow banning. People like Sean King getting booted off of Instagram. He had 5 million followers and got booted off of Instagram for speaking too much about the genocide in Palestine. So what people are discovering is that we do have to read, as you said, Sister Rosie Milligan, we have to read books. We have to read books, and sometimes those are the long-term answers rather than the short-term answers. I was talking about George Jackson, and in 1970, he wrote Fascism is Already Here, right? Well, read the whole book so you can know what he's talking about in Blood in My Eye, right? Read the whole book, understand what that means.
And let me make one other comment. The other reason it's so important, sister, because when we read, we will understand that the fight that people did before us, when we read about those stories, how they stood up. See, many people are so docile, but we had people back in the days before there was television, before there was anything. They fought, they rose up. Our people need to see that there's fight in us, that we didn't just sit down and roll over. The younger generation haven't seen that. They see it in you. They see it in your organization. But who else do they see? The serious fight. How people, they tore down. They didn't just lay down. They didn't roll over. They need to see that there's always been fight in us, and that fight is what helped us to get where we are now. It wasn't a political movement. We waited on a president or waiting on a senator or representative. No, when we didn't have that, the people individually rallied and fought. And there's many books that deal with the struggle, how they fought against this system. So our people need to know that.
That's right. And in exploring that, what they'll realize is that when we fight, we win. That's not just a chant from the labor union. That's not just a chant from the movement. That when we fight, we win, right? So as you said, we've always struggled. We've never submitted to our own oppression. And how do we think we got free from slavery, right? Chattel slavery ended not because President Lincoln signed an executive order. Chattel slavery ended because our people refused to submit, and it took centuries, but our people fought, right? Read about Nat Turner. Read about Mama Harriet Tubman. Read about Sojourner Truth. Then understand Ida B. Wells, and you're getting to the next movement, right? The anti-lynching movement, where Sister Ida B. Wells led that anti-lynching movement, and, in her writings, helped to use writing to free people, right? On lynchings is one of the most important reads. The Red Record, where she recorded how the state and how white supremacy was stealing the lives of Black people and how Black people have to rise up. We can read about people like Mama Ella Baker, right? Who they called Fundi, lovingly called Fundi, right? And how she was a part of the Black unionization work even before she was a part of the NAACP and the SCLC, right? So go ahead.
And she was not, Ida B. Wells was not afraid to write truth. We have a lot of newspapers now, they're so docile down because they're concerned about whatever, I can't say this. You can write a particular article. I have written articles for people, you need to tone this down. But nobody else is toning their stuff down. They're not toning it down on the air, on the TV. Why do we have to tone everything down? What's up with that, Melina?
You're so right. And that's why Black independent media is so important, right? So when Ida B. Wells, if she had been trying to publish her writings in a white newspaper, it never would have happened. But she became the publisher of the Free Speech and Headlight, right? And decided that her pen could be mightier than a sword. And so she would write in Black independent media. We need the Sentinel, right? We need KBLA. We need these Capital B, which is, we have a journalist from Capital B coming on in just a few minutes. We need that so that we don't have to, as you said, Sister Rosie Milligan, we don't have to tone it down.
And the other thing, Melina, we have to do when you want freedom, when you want what you want, You have to invest financially. You know, we have to do ads on these black radio stations. We have to do ads. Don't just run up to the newspaper every time you have a free press release. We got to understand that the price of freedom is not free. We got to put our money down to help. A lot of times they can't go the way we want them to go because they feel like, well, you got to tone it down, Doc, because, you know, the other people are supporting me and you guys are not. That's real talk, Melina. It really is.
That's right. That's right. Well, look, you did a great lead-in, Sister Rosie Milligan, into who we're talking to just on the other side of news, traffic, and sports. We're going to be talking with a black independent journalist who writes for Capital B, which is not mainstream media, which doesn't tell you to tone it down and allows its journalists to write truths. Thank you so much for calling in. Of course, we're taking your calls at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Much more to talk about right here on First Things First.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore are returning home after an unexpected 9-month stay on the ISS due to Boeing Starliner issues. They're set to splash down off the Florida coast in a SpaceX capsule around 6 p.m. Eastern. Expands the capabilities with generative AI using Amazon's secure cloud. San Francisco Pride is losing about $300,000